Hi, everyone. Welcome to the show. Tonight, we hear from you. Today's topic, the trial of former officer Kim Potter charged with manslaughter. What do you think should happen? And what have I been getting wrong? You're zooming in live. But first, the late-breaking developments in the trial of former Officer Potter. The jury finished its deliberations for the day, literally in the last hour. It looks like we could be heading for a hung jury. Remember, Potter shot and killed 20-year-old Dante Wright in April after seemingly mistaking her handgun for her taser. The jury came back today with two specific questions. First, they asked if the jury cannot reach consensus, what steps should be taken? The judge's answer, I'm going to reread an instruction. You should not surrender your honest opinion to reach a verdict. Translation, I'm not going to tell you anything else and you got to figure it out yourself. The second question, can zip ties be removed from Potter's gun so it can be held out of the evidence box? The answer from the judge, yes. Now remember, the weight of that gun became a critical issue in the case because it weighs twice as much as the taser. Wright was pulled over for an expired tag, but when officers realized he had an outstanding warrant for a weapons violation, they tried to arrest him. He resisted. Here's the moment of the shooting and Potter's reaction that has been critical in the trial.
I just shot him. Yes! I grabbed the wrong gun! I shot him! Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!
If you tuned in last night, we played small portions of Monday's closing arguments, but there was much more. Here's a little bit more from the prosecution's final argument to the jury.
She chose to become a police officer. And she failed in that responsibility. She betrayed her badge, and she betrayed her oath. She betrayed Dante Wright and her fellow officers, too. And her conduct was criminal.
And Potter's attorney's rebuttal was this.
Did they prove beyond a reasonable doubt that she caused this death? No. Dante Wright caused his own death, unfortunately. But those are the cold, hard facts, the evidence.
Now, the jury's question today suggests they could be heading to a hung jury. And, some legal experts were even predicting it last week and even last night as the jury began deliberations. I think you could see a hung jury here. Okay, a little self-promotional. And it is still far from a foregone conclusion, but I would certainly not be surprised. Joining us again, attorney Jesse Weber, anchor for Law and Crime Network, and Dina Sayegdal, an attorney who is a legal analyst for the Law and Crime Network. Good to see you both. Oh, Jesse, we talked about this last night, the possibility of a hung jury. And once the jurors ask that question, it has got to make all the parties, well, particularly the prosecution in this case, very nervous.
Well, Dan, the minute I heard that, I have to say I did think of you. I did think of what you said last night. I am going to say that could very well be a possibility, but not so fast, because I'm more interested in the second question they had about the zip ties for the gun. That signifies to me that the jurors who want that question are the jurors who are leaning towards an acquittal or who are undecided, because the jurors who already think that she's guilty, they don't need to see the gun in yet. So the fact that the jurors want to see this gun and hold it in their hands and see the difference between that and a taser, they want to really articulate the differences between that and the other weapon. That signifies to me that maybe after they do that, they're going to the jurors who are already siding for guilt are going to convince the jurors who are leaning towards acquittal. So as much as this looks right now that maybe they're not, on the same page, tomorrow could be very interesting. And also it should be noted, it wasn't clear whether or not they are undecided about both charges or one charge. So although it looks like they might not come to a consensus, that second question is so critical because I think they're going to look at that gun and say, oh my gosh, how on earth could Kim Potter mistake this for a taser?
Yeah, and Dina, it is definitely true that this is not a foregone conclusion. I've seen a lot of cases where the judge issues what's called an Allen charge, a dynamite charge, whatever you want to call it, where the judge basically says, look, go back in there, talk to each other, try and figure this out. That would certainly happen before the judge would just say, oh, yeah, hung jury, we're done. What do you make of Jesse's comments, too?
I mean, it's absolutely right. And I think the key piece is what we don't know. How many of them maybe are in agreement? Are we in a, 10-2 situation? Yes, maybe two people could change their mind and either find guilt or innocence. Or is this a 6-6 decision and the odds of 6 different people changing their minds, is less likely? That part we don't know. So it's a little bit hard to kind of read the tea leaves here and know whether or not they will be able to continue deliberation and come to a consensus. It's definitely more possible depending on that number.
Right. It is impossible to read the tea leaves, but that's what we do, right? I mean, that's what we're here to do, is to read the tea leaves, even though we know the first thing you want to warn someone about is, hey, I can't say for certain, but I'm going to read some tea leaves. Let me play a piece of sound. This is number 9. This is when Kim Potter was on the witness stand. I said at the beginning of this case that the most important moment in this case, and it's not surprising, it's not particularly insightful, was that Kim Potter's testimony. I want to play a piece of it, and then we're going to come back.
You never saw a weapon on Mr. Wright, did you?
No,
Never saw a gun.
no,
He never threw a punch, right?
no,
Never kicked anyone.
no,
Never said, I'm going to kill you.
no,
Never said, I'm going to shoot you.
no,
Never said, there's a gun in the car and I'm coming after you.
no.
Jesse, as I said before this case started that I thought her testimony was going to make or break it. I'm not so convinced of it anymore, because when she was on the stand, she's basically admitting kind of everything that the prosecution's case is laying out and just saying, yeah, I kind of freaked out.
Well, here's the benefit. I don't think she's lying. She seems pretty credible, but she's not giving the answers that her defense team wants, because what is she not saying? She's not saying, hey, you know what? I was justified in pulling my weapon. I had really no choice. Maybe I didn't think it at the time, but I thought it at the time. But here's the thing, and I said this last night, I'm going to say it again. There's a difference between her saying at the time, I had to take out this weapon, versus now when her defense attorneys are kind of manufacturing that defense for her. And even if she never thought of it, well, I'll tell you what, jury, yes, it was a mistake, but she was justified in using that weapon nonetheless.
Right.
And even if you accept that, what danger was there? Because I didn't hear the kind of testimony that and yes, the Officer Johnson testified that he thought he was going to be dragged, but really, I didn't get that sense.
But Dina, let's assume for a moment that the deadly shooting wasn't justified. The reason I've always thought there was going to be a hung jury here was because I thought the jurors were going to sympathize with her. They were going to say she made a mistake. It was a deadly mistake, but it was a mistake. And as a result, I, meaning whatever number of jurors in this case, am just not comfortable convicting her. And so her very admissions, the things that where she's basically saying, yeah, this is what happened, and then crying, I actually think help her.
I agree. And I actually think if there's not a hung jury here, I could see an acquittal, because, the most important testimony really is the day right after the shooting where she says, taser, taser. And her testimony in court was just supporting that testimony. She clearly made a mistake, and the prosecution wants that to be criminal and the defense, does not. And the idea, I think really probably the star in the courtroom was Dr. Miller, because his expert testimony that she could have done this unconsciously is all the defense needed, I think, to prove it, because the prosecution had to prove that she made a conscious act. Well, and he gave them the weight that, no, this was unconscious. She did not know that she was pulling out her loaded weapon, and because of that, she doesn't have the guilt.
One other thing I want to highlight, this is number 10. This is, I think, in terms of sympathy, understanding for Kim Potter, this interaction during her testimony is critical.
Did you ever, in your career, shoot your gun at anybody?
No.
Did you ever shoot your gun in real life during your career?
No.
And did you ever shoot your taser during your career?
It was never deployed.
All right. So, Jesse, you are leaning towards possible conviction. Dina, you are leaning towards possible acquittal. Stick around if you would, because a lot of our viewers are going to either agree or disagree, including with me, on the Kim Potter trial. So coming up, we're going to turn the stage over to all of you. It's your chance to zoom in and put me in my place live. Up next.
I'm sorry it happened. I'm so sorry.
That was the testimony of former officer Kim Potter. When she testified in her own defense, the jury has come back with a couple of questions, but one of them is, what do we do if we can't reach a consensus? Suggesting that there's the possibility of a hung jury here. Of course, the case is in the hands of the jury. Now, you all know that I have strong opinions about issues in this case. So do our expert guests like Jesse Weber and Dina Dahl, who are still with us. But we want to hear from you. A lot of opinions out there. So what say you, NewsNation? Let's start with Holly in Newport Beach, California. Holly, how you doing? What do you got?
Hi, Dan. What do I got? I think she should be charged, the second charge, with culpable negligence. I think she failed her duty. And there's someone that isn't here anymore. And sadly, 2 lives have been ruined because of her actions.
Do you believe it was a mistake, though? You believe it was an error, right?
100%.
And do you feel bad for her?
I can't say that I feel bad for her because I don't think she felt bad for him. And so my compassion lies with the person that died. I'm sad that her career is over and that she's going through this in her life, but it bothered me from the very beginning of the body cam that shows her reaction, that not once did she say, call an ambulance. Did she rush to his aid? Did she even know that he was alive or dead? It was very disturbing. All she cared about was herself. And she's an officer who is supposed to be serving and protecting the community. It was just disturbing.
That is the argument the prosecution was making in this case. Holly, thanks for the input. Thanks for joining us.
I want to make something clear, though. I want to make something clear. I am 100% pro-police. So I want to make that clear.
I don't think that it's there's a conflict between being pro-police and being pro-accountability in certain cases. This is a tough case. This is but I've said that I think that this is a closer case than it is to you. But look, the reason I want people to weigh in is because this is the jury. These are the kinds of conversations that are going to be happening in the jury room. So Holly, thank you. I appreciate it. I want to get to the next call, which is Charlie in Scranton, Pennsylvania. Charlie, how you doing? What do you got?
Hi, Dan. I'm doing all right.
Hey.
So this is, I swear, most of my life, I've been very open-minded. I go into a case not knowing, where I stand. But for this one, I went in thinking there is no way in the world that I would vote to convict her, send her to jail. I think she did show that she is not a very good police officer in the sense that, after it happened, she tend to make sure everybody was okay. She was too panicked, which I understand, but it's not being a good police officer. But I just can't envision convicting her. So I guess that obviously biases my opinion to say that I don't see 12 people convicting her.
Well, let me ask you, just thinking about what Holly just said, do you think she was negligent or reckless in the fact that she literally ended up grabbing her gun instead of her taser?
What's the thing? I mean, I would actually be curious what you thought of this, Dan, that I personally could could picture myself doing that. I mean, 26 years of training, never having actually dealt with this before, doesn't stop you from being a human being. So I personally, I feel like I could have made this mistake. So I'm curious, do you think you could have made this mistake?
Look, here's why I can't answer that question, because I would have had to have been a police officer to answer your question. I think it's very dangerous for non-police officers people who've never been cops to say, for example, here's what I would have done if I'd been a cop, if I'd been on that scene at the time. I will tell you the fact that she had to literally reach to the other side to get the gun where, she shouldn't have been reaching is it's a big leap here to suggest that, well, look, it could happen to anyone. It doesn't happen very often. It has happened, but it doesn't happen very often. Yeah,
Somebody in the jury agrees with you because they asked to see the gun today, right? So they're thinking, how do you make this mistake? And I just keep yelling at my TV, but she did make the mistake.
Right. Look, and the question becomes, was it a criminal mistake, right? I mean, that's the issue here. And that's why I think that a lot of the jurors here are not going to be looking quite at the letter of the law. And they're going to be just going from their gut and saying, they all agree it was a mistake, but does it rise to that level of criminality? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so one part that I actually also think, and again, I was biased, but I also think the prosecutor did a lousy job. And in her closing argument, she was going on about this choice. She chose to become a cop. She chose to use force.
Yeah.
But she didn't choose anything negligent. The negligency was just a mistake. And by the way, they do a job, unlike you or I. If we make a mistake in our jobs, nobody dies. I don't think they a police officer can be held to the standard where a mistake, which is inherently likely to cost somebody their lives, puts them in jail. And and I'm sorry, one more point about that is the other Holly made the comment about she thinks that she was just worried about herself. I mean, I actually think if you watch the video, you can kind of tell she goes from, oh my God, I shot that boy, which I thought was kind of an important word, because it kind of showed some sense of she's thinking about the human that she just hurt. And then she goes, I'm going to prison. And I don't think the idea of her being hysterical about having her life ruined is all that, selfish of her. I'd be upset.
Well,
I'd be crying too.
I agree with you. Jesse Weber, you've always said you found that to be particularly incriminating. I haven't always thought that that's such a big deal. I think many people are going to view it the way Charlie views it.
Look, no one can doubt that there's a human aspect of it, and they're probably having those conversations, but they were instructed they can't let emotions decide this case. The problem that I have with that video, and it's something that Holly mentioned before, is that it was all about her. Oh my goodness, I'm going to prison. I'm going to prison. She didn't do enough to really show the attention to Daunte Wright. The thing that, and I want to make it clear because we keep hearing this common theme from the viewers who are great, is that the conscious act she took was reaching for a weapon. She says she reached for the wrong weapon, but that was the act that she took. And the 5 to 6 seconds that it was held up in front of her is all that matters in my eyes, because she could have seen that wasn't a taser.
All right, let me take a quick break because, Dina sees it a little bit differently. Some of our viewers see it a little bit different. Charlie, hey, thanks for coming on the show. Great to have you. Coming up, we've got more of you waiting to tell us your thoughts on the Kim Potter trial as the jury just announced about an hour ago that they're done for the day, and it sounds like there could be some problems in that jury room. Come back.
You didn't plan to use deadly force that day, did you?
No.
Because you knew that deadly force was unreasonable and unwarranted in those circumstances.
I didn't want to hurt anybody.
That was Kim Potter on the witness stand in the manslaughter trial, where she's been charged after killing 20-year-old Daunte Wright. She apparently mistook her gun for her taser, which she had intended to use. We're back with Jesse Weber and Dina Siegdahl, our guests, but we're also talking to all of you about your thoughts on the trial, because it seems, based on some of the jurors' questions, that they may be divided back there. And you, our viewers, seem to be divided as well. Let's go to Ross in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Ross, how you doing? What do you got?
Hey, yeah, hi, Dan. Thanks for having me. Excited. Long-time fan.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. What do you make of this?
Well, listen, first of all, my sympathies go out to the victim, Dante Wright's family, and all of this. It's just an awful tragedy from the get-go. Your first viewer there, Holly, I agree with her overall. Officer Potter, she's guilty. She did it. If the video shows it all, the video speaks for itself, in my opinion. The thought process behind it, the psychologist at the hearing, I don't think that did anything. So she should be charged. Oh, I'm sorry, convicted on the least charge, in my opinion.
Yeah, and do you feel sorry for her?
Of course, I feel sorry for the officer. She's been on the force a long time. It's the worst thing that can happen to an officer is make a deadly mistake. She didn't intend it, but it happened. Training aside, and maybe that's the problem there. It speaks to that effect. Right side, left side, who knows what's going on there. And the timing of the whole thing after the George Floyd, it's just awful to it. Through the lens of the media, that did her no favors.
Well, that's for sure. And as you may know, on this show, I talked about the question of whether the media would be covering this at all if Dante Wright had been white. That's a separate question from the legal questions. That's a media question. But Dina, coming back to what we're hearing here from Ross, what do you think the jurors are doing in discussing possible sentences? Meaning, sometimes I think they're not supposed to, right? They're not supposed to get involved in sentencing discussions. But I think in this kind of case that the jurors may be back there saying, well, I think she should get a little time and not a lot of time, et cetera. Is that possible?
Anything is possible. I do think that, as you said, it could be in the back of their mind. This idea, again, we know this is a mistake. Is it criminal or not? And what do you do with somebody like that? How long do you want them to be in jail? Do you want them to be in jail at all? So what the punishment holds absolutely makes a difference. I mean, we have this thing in this country called civil negligence as well, where it's only money that's involved. And where you would say, sure, somebody who made a mistake, it's not criminal, but it's civil. There's all sorts of negligence. So I think that it's hard not to actually know that you have somebody's life in your hands when you're a juror there deliberating. And I think that she showed true remorse. I think her crying on the stand was real. I think that she showed remorse in the moment. She was a very cautious police officer. The fact that she hadn't ever used her gun or deployed her taser before. So you could imagine her in that moment really being overwhelmed with the enormity of what she had just done.
Jesse Weber, what do you expect we're going to see tomorrow?
See, I think, as I said before, there could be an about face. May very well have the jury come back and say, look, we're still undecided. Maybe that's the case. I personally believe that there is going to be a conviction on at least one of these charges, particularly because they're going to get a chance to view this gun one more time, really understand the differences between the gun and the taser. That is going to be an analysis for them. I think it's going to be about face. The evidence, in my opinion, is just too strong. Yes, it was a mistake, but a mistake can be criminal. Yes, a defendant can regret what they did, but they can still be convicted. That's my opinion.
We shall see. Jesse, good to see you. Dina, great to have you. Thanks for coming on the show. And Holly, Ross, and Charlie, thank you all for joining us as well. And we want you guys to weigh in live on the major stories of the day. Now, we'll probably continue covering the Kim Potter trial. But tomorrow, we're going to tackle the January 6th Commission, the one-year anniversary approaching. I think the January 6th Commission is important, but that the liberal media coverage of every bit of committee minutia is excessive. I'm more concerned about warning signs moving forward than on looking back. But I'll bet that many of you disagree on both sides of that. Tell us. Maybe you'll change my mind. Go to newsnation.com/DAL. Zoom in live on the show. Coming up, Fox News' Jesse Waters under fire for encouraging students to ambush Dr. Anthony Fauci. But he didn't like it when the incivil shoe was on the other foot. That's next. Time now for our Mediaite Moments, where we check in on the day's bias, buzz, and the bull in the world of cable news and beyond. Fox News host Jesse Waters is dealing with a bit of trouble of his own making. Now, Waters is not a fan of Dr. Anthony Fauci. And during a recent address at a conservative college conference, the Fox News host encouraged the students to effectively stalk Dr. Fauci and used a deadly metaphor.
Now you're going for the kill shot. The kill shot with an ambush, deadly, because he doesn't see it coming. This is when you say, Dr. Fauci, you funded risky research at a sloppy Chinese lab. You know why people don't trust you, don't you? Boom! He is dead. He is dead. He's done.
Now, Waters was encouraging the students to ambush Fauci with a camera and to then send the video into Fox. Same style of reporting that sort of defined his early career. But he used the words kill shot and dead, which elicited the following response from Dr. Fauci.
I mean, what kind of craziness is there in society these days? That's awful that he said that. Whatever network he's on is not going to do anything for him. I mean, that's crazy. The guy should be fired on the spot.
Now, Fox News is not going to fire Waters, and they've actually defended his comments as, quote, taken out of context. But the lack of civility in the public arena is a real issue. And it's something that 3 years ago was being highlighted by, you guessed it, Jesse Waters. Following Trump Press Secretary Sarah Sanders getting berated at a Virginia restaurant, he called out Maxine Waters to illustrate that point.
Sarah Sanders works for Donald Trump. While most Americans reject this type of behavior, Congressman Maxine Waters encouraged it.
Let's make sure we show up wherever we have to show up. You get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome.
Both Waters, no relation, Maxine and Jesse's comments were out of line and dangerous. I've criticized Maxine Waters' comments numerous times. But just as bad as the selective outrage from Jesse Waters, who's actually said this.
The bottom line is everyone should be treated with respect in this country. Fox News should be, CNN. If you like Trump, if you like Hillary, we're all Americans.
Maybe including Dr. Fauci. Look, I like Jesse. I agree with him on certain issues. But this is about the absurd hypocrisy on an issue I care about and one he claimed to care about, too. That's our wrap of the day's media bias, buzz, and the bull. We are on scene tonight with surveillance and body cam video, as well as footage from a live news crew from San Diego. Officer Cody Horn pulled over Daniel Quiroz Jr. for running a red light. After talking to the suspect, Officer Horn thought Quiroz might have been drinking and asked him to get out of the car.
You just step out of your vehicle, just be careful, watch for cars, okay?
Where?
Huh?
Where?
You're gonna get out of your vehicle and you're gonna come over here and talk to me. Come here. Hey, put that gun down. Shots fired. Shots fired. Hey.
When Quiroz stepped out of the car, he pulled a handgun from his waistband and opened fire. Officer Horn shot back and took cover. Now, it all happened while a reporter from Nexstar station KSWB was live on the air covering another story and caught it on camera.
This is a big, big loss. In the middle of Fox 5's report on San Diego Comic-Con, at least a dozen gunshots ring out less than a block away.
As other officers arrived at the scene, Quiroz surrendered, got on the ground, police took him into custody. He was charged with attempted murder. And get this, no officers was hurt, and neither was the suspect. One pedestrian was hit by a stray bullet, but the bullet hit an eyeglass case in the man's back pocket. Said he didn't even realize he'd been shot. I want to do a little history. Something like that happened with Teddy Roosevelt when he was shot. The man was treated for a minor injury. San Diego Police Department and San Diego County District Attorney's Office cleared Horn of any criminal liability in the incident. The Board of Port Commissioners awarded Officer Horn their Medal of Valor for his actions. Joining me once again, Sean Sticks Larkin, retired Tulsa Police Lieutenant. Whew. Sticks, I hadn't seen that one before we just watched it. And we always say this, I'm going to say it to you and I'm going to let you take it from here. It started with a traffic stop.
Started with a traffic stop. First of all, can you imagine being that reporter that's out there covering Comic-Con and then have this take place where you guys pan to?
Yeah, I can understand that part, right? I mean, that part I can get. It's the other part that I can't get that you have to provide the expertise on. It is amazing that a reporter was across the street covering Comic-Con. But now take us into this from the officer perspective of pulling the car over and what happens next.
Yeah, you know, they estimate that there's as many as 20 million traffic stops conducted a year by law enforcement officers. So when you look at the total number of these type of incidents that happen, it's obviously very, very small. But so far here in 2021, we've had 60 police officers shot and killed in the line of duty, which is a 22% increase over last year. And they're happening on these type of calls like this, a simple traffic stop, a domestic violence call, a wanted subject, and so forth. And the thing is, when we're conducting these traffic stops, unless it's a prior investigation, we have no idea who is in the car. We have no idea if it's just a little old lady who's run a red light or a college kid not paying attention looking at his phone, or if it's somebody with intentions like this. You know, and so the suspects that are in the car, they've always got the leg up on us when we approach the car. And this one, a simple traffic violation, ran a red light, suspected he was drinking, and then you have this as a result.
The officer asked the suspect to get out of the car. I want to watch that moment again.
Hey, put that gun down. Shots fired. Shots fired. Hey.
I know it's going to sound really basic, Sticks, but it's a reminder of how much an officer has to be paying attention when someone gets out of a car like that.
Absolutely. You know, one of the first things you're taught in the academy when you're doing these type of things or dealing with a potential suspect or a person, the hands are what kill you. And so that's what we're always paying attention to, what a suspect's hands are doing, where they're going at in their pockets. This case, the waistband, where they're moving around at in the car. You know, I want to point out what the officer did well here was he created distance between himself and the suspect. He used his own patrol vehicle as basically ballistic cover, took a position up behind the car. When he had an opportunity, he moved further back. Obviously, he has to be aware of other citizens that are out there that potentially could be hostages or victims of this guy. But overall, he got himself to a place of safety and was able to get the suspect in custody once the other officers arrived.
All right, Sean Larkin, we see your book, Breaking Blue, there in the background. I appreciate you setting that up for us so we could make sure that there was promotion being done of your book while you're doing this segment. And there it is about cops falsely accused of crime. So I'll give you the plug in addition to just having it there in the background.
Hey, it makes a great stocking stuffer for anybody doing some last-minute Christmas shopping.
There you go. This was not planned, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. Sean Larkin.
No, it was not.
Good to see you. See you soon.
You as well.
That does it for us tonight. NewsNation Prime starts right now. And don't forget, right into the time for me to end. NewsNation.com/DAL if you want to be on the show and zoom in with us on some hot topics. Thank you for watching. Click the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.